victory over Iran isn't giving you any confidence going forward.
Absolutely not.
All right, well, it's good. Good update from Cam there on that one. But PJ, we've seen the Simone Biles situation come out now in full force, and we haven't. I guess we don't need a reason, but we've seen basically the two separate thought processes, especially on social media. For those of you who don't know, Simone Biles pulling out of the team event before the gold medals, and then the individual event earlier this morning due to mental health concerns. And we've seen both sides of social media come out.
You always will.
You're always going to. But I found this situation fascinating because a lot of reports are coming out that she's been upset since she got there because she's not being scored fairly, because she's so much better than everyone else at what she does. They don't know how to score her properly. And so it's almost subtraction by addition, I guess, because of how good she is.
Yeah.
And that's been affecting her. But moral of the story, when it comes down to it, if she didn't feel safe going out there, we've seen gymnasts be injured multiple times.
Really?
When I think at least two that I know of in the Olympics have become quadriplegics.
Yeah.
And if she didn't feel, I think it's as simple as this. If Simone Biles didn't feel safe going out there, whether physically or mentally, I don't think any of us here have the right to judge her in any way whatsoever. And I know I've seen some people, like, I'll call him what he is, the jerk, Charlie Kirk, calling her a sociopath and selfish for not doing this.
Of course. Yeah.
She is so much better at her job than anyone here in the studio is at theirs, or anyone listening, I would argue, is at theirs.
Yeah.
So I'll be really careful calling someone out and calling them selfish.
Absolutely. Yeah.
In a situation like that.
I'd say I'd go farther. I'd say probably she's better at her job than most of the people reporting on it too.
I'd say she's better at her job than 99.999% of people are at their job in the world.
Absolutely. And that's why she's that incredible. That's why she's as young as she is and called the GOAT already for what she's been able to do. No, absolutely. My thoughts on this are twofold. And first comes with what you were talking about there, with the thought process of an athlete going out and basically the people that are judging you are saying you're doing too well. You're literally doing things that shouldn't physically be possible. We don't know how to judge you on that. We can't give you a proper score. One, because we don't want other people to go out and try and do it and hurt themselves because they literally can't do what you're doing.
It's like,
which is crazy.
And I hate to compare Simone Biles to this, but I mean, it's I guess it's a fairly funny movie. Have you seen what's the movie with the Flint Tropics? Semi-pro?
Yes.
Semi-pro.
Yeah.
You know when they throw up the alley-oop to Andre 3000 and he catches the oop and he throws it down and the ref just kind of goes, foul.
Yeah.
Foul.
I don't know why. Yeah.
And they try to like describe what happened to everyone listening at home. That's what's happening to these poor officials when they were trying to judge Simone Biles. She was so good at doing things that they had never seen before. Yeah. And I think you have to submit what the moves are before you do them. That's how the announcers know what's coming up inside. And then they can judge you based off of, okay, you're doing this. Let's see how well you perform it. They literally don't know how.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what do we say about athletes that go out there and get hurt, or basically you're telling her to hold back a little bit to try and get better scores, because if she does what she's going to do,
just do what everyone else does.
If she does anything to her highest potential, which is, as athletes, what is exactly what you're told to do. And what's the repercussion when you don't do that? It's told in football a lot. You go out there and you don't go 110%, you get hurt, as you mentioned. And that's not only physically, but mentally. Can you imagine going into a sport that you're supposed to be at your highest potential, and one wrong move can be catastrophe, and mentally trying to hold back a little bit but still do enough? You can't do it. You're not supposed to do that as an athlete at all. It's taught from the moment you start playing. So that, obviously to me is a real problem, and I can see why she wouldn't be comfortable competing in that type of atmosphere. And two is just mental health altogether. I mean, I like that it's something that's being talked about in this day and age, especially in sports. I like that it's something that athletes are taking seriously and doing things like this. I mean, can you imagine being in her spot and having to make that decision?
Right.
A lot of people wouldn't make that decision, and that's something that everyone's affected by, right? I mean, me, like you're one of my people, man. Me and you have had plenty of discussions about that kind of thing, just in the office and about everything we've been through in the past year and everything like that. So to see her make that decision, I think was huge to me. But just to think about everything that's going into that, and especially being told as an athlete to hold back a little bit, but not too much in a situation where you're going out there to win a gold for the Olympics. I mean, it's impossible. So I think anyone who, I don't know, obviously that's my opinion. I disagree with it. Anyone who doesn't have that, you can have an opinion. But it's just crazy to imagine people looking at that and saying what people are saying, what we're seeing.
Cam, to me, it's this. I just don't feel like I will ever have the right. And again, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. I just personally don't feel like I'd ever have the right and say, well, we talk about football on here a lot, right? If Mike Davis is the running back for the Falcons, if he ran up the middle one time and Brandon Marshall met him there and just wrecked him, absolutely wrecked him, and Mike Davis got up and just like ran off the field and was like, you know what? Yeah, this ain't for me anymore. Me as a average 29-year-old white dude sitting here doing radio in an air-conditioned studio, I don't feel like I have any right to come on the next day and criticize Mike Davis for not putting his body on the line for my entertainment.
Yeah, they shouldn't be criticized. I think people forget athletes are human.
Yeah.
People quickly forget that they're superhumans because they're genetically.
They're literally different. Olympians. They're the peak of human athletic performance.
They're genetically different, but people forget that. And touching on the mental health part, that is huge. With everybody on this planet, it's huge. And the fact that we just kind of push that aside and say you're an athlete, just go out there and compete, that's wrong. I mean, they're a human being, and like you said, if Mike Davis or anybody chose to do that, we shouldn't question them.
No,
we shouldn't.
And again, if you want to argue like, oh well, the paychecks are getting paid to do it, that's a different conversation. That's a conversation between Simone Biles and the U.S. Olympic Committee. That's not a conversation we have. And there's no one out there saying that. There's no one out there questioning the fiscal responsibility of the Olympic Committee in paying Simone Biles. There's people out there calling her a coward and calling her selfish and calling her a sociopath.
Going a little too far
because she didn't want to compete in a sporting event.
I would say also that, I mean, I get she's, obviously the best gymnast on the planet, and
like she's not at war.
I would say if anyone's saying that she's not putting the team first, whatever, I would say that's exactly what
it seemed like. It was the opposite. It seems like she was doing that.
I'm not in the right headspace to do this. I feel like I'm going to mess something up if I go out there, for myself and for my team. Let me take myself out of this situation. That's team first. That is team first. That's crazy.
That's wild. But again, just always remember that send button is forever, because the internet is forever. So I've said this about like coaches plenty of times in the past. They need to hire that one person that's always sitting there, and I call it the "Are you sure, coach?" And then so as soon as you're about to hit send, are you sure?
Because you can't come back from certain
are you really sure? Because you're about to show everybody what you're really thinking, and are you sure you want to send that? So just so you know, this is Simone Biles' stand show. Probably the greatest, probably the greatest Olympic gymnast of all time. Certainly the greatest U.S. gymnast of all time. I mean, she literally has moves named after her.
Right.
I think 8 different ones that no one else has ever been able to do ever. She can do a backflip just standing up.
Yeah.
Like no momentum. She could do a backflip.
She's a human springboard. It's insane.
I miss when I try to jump up and like hit the exit sign.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So let's just be real careful before the judgmental comes out. We got more to come here on Second Down. A couple of local teams getting ready to report for camp. Actually, one of them already out there, Jacksonville Jaguars, getting our first look at Trevor Lawrence down in Jacksonville. I know Jaguars fans are losing their minds. There's just so many 2-word comments, PJ, on all the posts I've seen so far. Just, it's beautiful. This time last year, I think you had Mike Glennon battling Gardner Minshew for the starting quarterback job for
Good
the
times.
Jacksonville Jaguars. Now you have the fair-haired child, Trevor Lawrence, out there slinging the rock around for you. So we'll dive into some training camp storylines when we come back right here on Second Down. Second Down on ESPN Radio is presented to you by The Uniform Source, Guys, it is training camp time across the NFL. We have had our first sightings of one Trevor Lawrence down in Jacksonville, just outside of TIAA Bank Stadium, slinging the rock around a little bit. Our good friend John Shipley down there covering for Sports Illustrated, just losing his mind. Everyone's just so happy to have Trevor Lawrence down there. It's wild, man. I mean, is it out of the realm of possibility to say that, like, maybe outside of like Jalen Ramsey and a couple other players, Trevor Lawrence might already be the most popular Jaguar ever?
Ooh, top five.
Sorry to like drop that on you.
No,
like,
I mean,
coming out of break, but it kind of came through my head there.
Fred Taylor.
Right.
That's one I could think of. Off
It's
Maurice
Jones-Drew's got to be up
But
there.
like
Yeah.
even those guys, right? It's just the position they play. Like running back, obviously huge. But I mean, compared to the quarterback, the guy who's supposed to be the savior, and who is as
Yeah.
big as he was coming out of high school, going through college, you pretty much knew he was going to be the number one overall pick coming out of high school.
He might be, man.
I'll go with you,
I said top
PJ.
five. He might be top three.
I'll go with you, PJ. I'll say like he's already top five. If he does something stupid and like goes 500 this year,
Yeah.
just shut it down.
Number
Right.
one. Yeah.
Slow it down.
Yeah,
a little bit.
it's
I
going to
don't
be.
know, man. You say that though, in Jacksonville, if he goes 500 this year, the expectations might be through the roof.
That's what I'm saying. So he's going to be
yeah.
like amazingly
Okay.
popular.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like, so if anything, it's just going to increase his popularity. But
Right.
with the Jaguars, I mean, Laviska Shenault apparently has turned it on down there. DJ Chark has had a great offseason as well, and is kind of developing into a true number one from what we've heard. Don't inherently know what the rest of the skill positions are going to look like yet. I mean, for all we know, one Timothy Tebow could be your starting tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars when we roll out there week one. But in your mind, PJ, what do you think the biggest question mark is right now for the Jaguars?
I think it's what you were just talking about. Not only how does Trevor Lawrence develop, but how do the weapons develop around him is what I've been interested in this whole time. Can DJ Chark be that true number one, that safety, reliable target that Trevor Lawrence can rely on when everything's breaking down around him or when no one else is open, and he has to force a play. Can Shenault develop it into a true consistent weapon for Trevor Lawrence as well? How do the Jags use Travis Etienne out of the backfield? And how consistently do we see him on the field, not only taking carries, but being used on the outside as well? And of course, that tight end position is really big too. How do they protect Trevor Lawrence up front? So I don't have a ton of questions about Trevor Lawrence himself. I think the defense kind of is what it is.
Yeah, not very good.
My main focus this whole time has just been, can he play well, but can the people around him play well enough to give him a chance this year? And, of course, you develop year to year. We're looking forward to down the road with the Jaguars, but for 2021, can the skill position players be as good as they need to be around a young quarterback? That's been my thing the whole time.
And a pretty interesting division that they're playing in as well. I think the Colts are going to be really good. Obviously, the Titans are going to be really good. So it could be one of those situations where the Jaguars' record don't necessarily indicate how good they actually are.
True.
Let me ask you this, Cam. Justin Herbert last year threw for 4,000 yards, had 31 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, and basically set the world on fire. Everyone was talking about Tua coming out, but it was pretty clear Justin Herbert was the better rookie. I think it's left to be seen who's going to be the better NFL quarterback, but Justin Herbert can make every throw, really poised, I thought, but also on a really good team. But I want to ask you, how close do you think Trevor Lawrence gets to that? We'll say 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and then over under 10 interceptions for Trevor Lawrence. How close do you think he can get to those numbers? Because, I think quietly we forget. PJ mentioned you draft Travis Etienne in the second round. You sign Marvin Jones from Detroit, who's been a really good wide receiver. He's just played in Detroit.
Yeah.
I feel like Trevor Lawrence, especially if you're on a team that's probably going to be having to play catch up a lot, I think he might be able to get close.
I think he'll get 4,000 yards, but 31 touchdowns, that's kind of That's out the realm. I don't think he has enough.
You got an extra year. Oh, you got an extra game though.
You got an extra
and it's
game.
against the Falcons, so I
Keep-
mean, you'll.
keep-
It is. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Forget
He'll
about
get
that.
some touchdowns against the Falcons.
Yeah.
I love my Falcons, but I don't think that defense is fixed. But 4,000 yards, I think he could get that because of that extra game. But Herbert had a nice crew around him. Keenan Allen and those guys. He had a nice crew. I don't know if Lawrence has that. They had people forget Robinson rushed for 1,000 yards last year as an undrafted rookie. So he rushed for 1,000. Outside of him and Robinson, I have question marks everywhere, even at the receiving core. So I don't know if he'll be able to do that, but I do 4,000 yards, probably 25 touchdowns, and about 13 to 14 picks.
Wow, he's throwing all kinds of picks out there.
Yeah, he's going to be a gunslinger. He's going to have to. That's what I think. I think he's going to throw the ball around a lot, but Jacksonville is going to be one of the most fun, exciting teams to watch this year.
Well, we mentioned the Falcons there. They're getting ready to kick off their training camp starting tomorrow. Everybody's already reported, and you've gotten that rookie class signed finally since the trade of Julio Jones. And you're there with about, I think, $8 million in cap space where the Atlanta Falcons, if they want to go out there and add somebody, I know Justin Houston's a name that a lot of people have been looking at for the Atlanta Falcons. But I have a couple of different storylines I want to touch on with you guys with the Falcons. Number one, I think the offense may be underrated, and I think it's because you're still under that Julio Jones shadow with the Atlanta Falcons, where there's no way a team gets better by losing Julio Jones. And I'll agree to that. But when you start listing off all the weapons the Falcons have, I'm not going to say it's staggering, but it's pretty significant, right? Obviously, you start with Matt Ryan, who I think is consistently around a top 10 quarterback in the league. Sometimes it fluctuates. Sometimes, we all know this, Matt Ryan goes out there and he plays like the 18th best quarterback in the NFL. Sometimes he goes out there and he plays like the 4th or 5th best quarterback in the NFL. So I think he's right there around 10 pretty consistently. So you start with Matt Ryan, and then you go to the backfield. Mike Davis was a really good running back for Carolina.
Yeah.
And it's the opposite of what the Falcons have tried to do in the past by like bringing in the remnants of Rams running backs, right? You bring in what's left of Steven Jackson, and then you bring in like the carcass of Todd Gurley, and you hope you can rekindle some sort of magic. Instead, they went out and got a relatively young running back who can come in and I think fits really well into what Arthur Smith is going to try to do with this team. Now, you go to the wide receiver position. Calvin Ridley's really good. Russell
Absolutely,
Gage
yeah.
is really good, right? And you have a couple other guys in there as well that you feel like can be some good deep threats for you. You've drafted a few guys, but you're starting with those two, Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage. You have two really good receivers. I'll say Russell Gage is good. Calvin Ridley's really good.
Yeah.
Tight end, or I guess weapon, we can call
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts, because you can either file him under wide receiver or file him under tight end. Number 4 overall pick, longest wingspan we've seen in the NFL in 20 years from the wide receiver or tight end position. And then you go to your true inline tight end is Hayden Hurst, who had a career season last year with Matt Ryan, because if you are Matt Ryan's number 1 tight end, you're going to get targets. So I look at this team and I look at the weapons of like, are we underrating the Falcons offensively? I think a lot of it's going to come down to the offensive line, but with the skill guys, are we underrating them offensively? Because I feel like they have a chance to be really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll say that every time. I think this offense is going to be exciting. It's going to be fun to watch. They're going to spread the ball around like crazy with all the different weapons that you just mentioned. Not only with the receiving core anymore, because I mean that was the main thing, right? You had Julio, you had Ridley. Every highlight tape you watched was just them making insane catches and awesome grabs. But now you got 2 solid tight ends, as long as Kyle Pitts goes out there and does what everyone's expecting him to do, which I don't see how he doesn't, and a solid running game with Mike Davis, and consistent as well. That's what I'm looking forward to from the running game for the Falcons, is consistency, not just like Todd Gurley. I mean, he had moments where he was feeling great and he went out there and you saw production.
And then there was a lot of like 2-yard
he
carries.
felt great,
There was a lot of 2-yard carries.
Yeah, absolutely. So consistency and spreading the ball around is really what I'm looking forward to. I think a lot of people are underrating this offense, and I think they're really going to light it up. Can on the other side of the ball, that's my main question. Can you stop people and slow them down and make it so we don't see some of those comebacks that we saw against Atlanta last year, and some of those situations where it was an absolute score fest. So again, going all the way back to, I think people are underrating this team and offense because they lost Julio Jones.
I think we're underrating them a lot.
Man.
I think we're underrating them a lot just because how bad they've been. the last 3 years.
Well, I mean, to me, also, if you dissect it, and you look at the games,
7-9, 7-9, 4-12.
Yeah, but the records have been bad. But if you look at the games, there are so many games with the Falcons.
Well,
that,
I mean,
the one thing
possession
here or
game.
there.
Horseshoes and hand grenades, PJ.
I know. I'm just saying that's the difference between a team like that and the Jags, or some other team that goes 2 and whatever and 3 and whatever, is those other teams need to make at 9-10 different plays to win a game. Really, you look at what the Falcons have been through. Feel like it's more like 1 or 2. So
I feel bad for Arthur
those changes
Smith
are right there,
because I think he lost the benefit of the doubt, or like the Falcons lost the benefit of the doubt during the Dallas game last year. Like he didn't even think about being the next Falcons head coach. But I feel like Falcons fandom just lost all interest in giving the Falcons the benefit of the doubt when you didn't recover that onside kick.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like everyone's over it. You're going to have to prove something to Falcons fans before they're willing to jump on the bandwagon and say they're going to be really good again. But I also keep going back and I keep talking myself into believing in this team. I don't think they win the division. Do I think they can compete to win the division? Sure. I don't think they win it because I think Tampa Bay is going to be unbelievable again next year. And they were kind of like, Tampa Bay was kind of like the Miami Heat in their first year last year, where it took them a while to kind of figure out how to use everything. They had everything, but it took them a while to figure out how to use it. And once they did, you couldn't stop them.
Yeah.
Right. And now they just have everybody back, and they're probably going to do it again. It'll probably be the same Super Bowl, if I had to guess, doing my way too early predictions. But with the Falcons, I keep finding reasons to like what I'm seeing. I like Daron Harmon. I like that free agent signing. Eric Harris as a safety. I love the Richie Grant pick. So all of a sudden, your safeties were terrible last year. They might be terrible again, but I have found a reason to like them. I really like the Richie Grant pick there. Oh, by the way, they're all coached by Dean Pease, who's one of the best defensive minds. You got him out of retirement. One of the best defensive minds in the NFL is coaching all these guys up. I look at A.J. Terrell, who is we usually see it. Second year is where the corners start to get it, right? First year, you're asking them to go up against some of the best wide receivers in the league. They're going to get cooked. Second year is where you start to get it. So you have A.J. Terrell. You have Deion Jones still on the inside of that defense. You still have Grady Jarrett. What's the kid out of Auburn that's playing on the defensive line? Yeah, Marlon Davidson playing on the defensive line. He's coming in as a second-year guy. And so you finally have somebody, I think, that's like mean and nasty enough to slide in there alongside Grady Jarrett. Dante Fowler Jr. is back for another year with this team. Who
talk about mean and nasty,
yeah, like not too long ago was one of the premier pass rushers in the NFL. So, I mean, I keep finding reasons to like this team, but my biggest struggle with the Atlanta Falcons for so long has been they're just kind of soft.
Yeah.
And
the gradient jerseys don't help either.
No, they don't. And hopefully you only see those one time this year. But I mean, outside of the uniforms, it doesn't matter what uniform you put them in. They're just kind of soft. Like whenever other teams wanted to run the football, they could run the football, right? You never saw the Falcons' offensive line really moving people. Even during the Shanahan years where you went to the Super Bowl and Matt Ryan's the MVP, you weren't really moving people. You were just more gapping them and finding them in space, right? If you needed that, like you lost the Super Bowl because you didn't want to run the football, right? You just never were the tougher team. I can't remember the last time I watched a Falcons game. I was like, the Falcons were the tougher team.
Yeah.
Like the Falcons just went out there and out-willed somebody.
Right.
I cannot remember the last time the Falcons did that. Like I think maybe early on in Matt Ryan's career where you had the Harvey Dahls and the John Abrahams, those teams had some fights. I mean, the Roddy Whites, right?
Yeah, that's how they were getting it done.
Like Tony Gonzalez and Burner was going like for 1,700 yards on the ground. Like those teams were tough.
Yep.
For the last decade, Falcons have been one of the softer teams in the league, I feel.
Yeah.
And listen, not everybody can be the Ravens, right? Not everybody can be, I'll say the Bills or the Rams, right? Where they're going to out physical you. What I've seen from Arthur Smith and the way he likes to play offense and Dean Pease in the past, I'm hoping that mentality changes. I don't know that we'll see that for the first couple of years because he needs a chance to get out from under the salary cap, which Terry Fontenot did a good job of doing, and a couple of years to draft his guys against some free agents in that he likes. But this first year, I just like to see a little bit more fight out of the Falcons. Watching the Detroit game last year, you knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
You knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I want to see some more fight. Competitiveness. It's the season isn't a wash if you go 9-8. Like, I actually like that. 9-8 is actually a decent season. That might get you in the wild card game, that 7th slot. But it's an underrated team, underrated offense. I like the weapons. Atlanta have always put weapons around.
I think it's going to come down to the lines of scrimmage.
It's going to be lines of scrimmage. Offensive line, defensive line. If your defensive line is good, your secondary doesn't have to be great or even good. They just could be average with a good D line. So I'm excited. The schedule kind of plays in our favor. If you look at it with the Eagles, the first game, that's a good test. So I'm excited about the season.
Yeah, hopefully the
and you get the Jags. You get the Jags as your additional game.
Yeah, that always helps a little bit. No, and as to your point, I hope that the new additions can bring them mentality. It seems like they should be able to with Arthur Smith and Pease. I love that too. When you bring a defensive guy out of retirement to lead your defense, they're coming out of retirement.
Well, I don't think just to lead the defense. I think Arthur Smith is going to lean on him and his experience
for sure.
As Arthur Smith is a first time coach or head coach.
And I mean, you could say it's a business, whatever, but he's coming out of retirement because I mean, people don't just go into retirement and come out for no reason. It's because that fire in his blood is still there to be out there leading paycheck. Guys. And for sure that helps. But that's what I'm saying. But that fire's still there. And because of that, you see when this type of things happen, I know it doesn't happen all the time, but when this type of things happen, normally you see a defense really take to that guy. So hopefully we can see that from them. And I know the lines of scrimmage are important, and that's where it all starts, especially in the running game. But Mike Davis is the kind of runner that's going to bring that mentality to your offense and to your running game as well. I know Todd Gurley had the body for it, like aesthetically, but
I think if you need a comp for Mike Davis, go watch Michael Turner when he was with the Falcons.
Exactly, but I mean that's what I mean.
That same kind of body.
He can bring that mentality to an offense and to a running game. So,
like if Cam like curled up into a cannonball right now, it's one of Mike Davis's legs, just one of his quads. Yeah. Like if Cam did a cannonball, it's one of Mike Davis's quads
for sure. I think the makings of them being a tougher team are there.
I'm going to say something that's going to make you mad. I think Mike Davis could outsquat Saquon Barkley.
No,
that's just egregious.
Nah,
now, do you mean like while he's injured? Because I'd agree.
No,
with
like
that.
if Saquon's healthy right now.
No, yeah,
I think Mike Davis is out squatting Saquon.
I have to disagree.
He's got bigger legs, man, and he's a little bit shorter.
Have you seen Saquon's? Saquon's thighs are probably bigger than Mike Davis. I don't know.
I've seen those. I've seen those quads.
No disrespect, but no, you're disrespecting Saquon, so it's fine.
His thighs bigger than my whole body.
He's insane.
I literally just said that about Mike Davis, Cam.
But Saquon he's a different specimen.
I don't know. I had another Saquon standing here. Jeez.
How can you not?
I argued about him earlier today with a friend. Madden ratings.
Look at the way he runs, man.
Oh, you want to talk about that real quick?
I got
Is Christian McCaffrey the best running back in the NFL?
There you go.
Because he is certainly the highest rated on Madden.
And he didn't play last year.
You guys know my answer to that.
2,000 yards last year.
You guys know my answer to that.
Okay, hold on. Let me rephrase the question for PJ.
Derrick Henry might be the king, but he's not the best.
Is Christian McCaffrey the best? This is just for PJ. Is Christian McCaffrey the best running back in the NFL behind Saquon Barkley?
No. Yeah, no. No, I like the way you phrase that though. That's fantastic because I mean that's the thing. Everyone's
like,
forgetting about.
How the hell do you not have Derrick Henry number one?
He's
no, that's insane.
He's a 99 this year.
With what
2,000 yards.
Yeah, with what he did last year.
And honest to God, no, you're asking me in the NFL right now. I can have one of these three: Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, or Dalvin Cook.
Ooh, wow.
I'm honest to God taking Nick Chubb and Dalvin Cook over Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the injury problems, I'd take Dalvin Cook. But yeah, no, I know what you mean.
But Christian McCaffrey, I mean, he's a compiler, right? He has gotten so many touches just for the simple fact that they didn't have other weapons on those offenses.
Yeah. It's true. He is. I'd put him top 5, but no, the best in
I don't know he's top
NFL.
5 to me, man. I think Alvin Kamara is a better version of what Christian McCaffrey wants to be. Did you see that damn 6-touchdown game? Did you see that touchdown against the Green Bay Packers where he levitated?
Well, like Christian McCaffrey has become.
I factor those like playing in big games, being productive in big games. That's how I factor in who's the best running backs in the league. So it's Derek. You got Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook. He's performed. Those are my guys right there. And Nick Chubb. Those are my top.
The only reason Dalvin Cook isn't up there is because he plays for Minnesota and nobody watches Minnesota.
He plays for Minnesota and he's out half the year.
All right.
But it's just the truth.
Says the Saquon
McCaffrey, I will say McCaffrey has done an impressive job over the last 2 or 3 years becoming
PJ, you can't sit there as a Saquon fan and make fun of somebody for missing time.
I'm not making fun of anybody. That's just a
Who's the
truth.
number
It's
one
a
running back
fact.
in the NFL, PJ?
Saquon Barkley.
Okay,
Honestly.
so why are you using that against Dalvin Cook?
I mean, Saquon got hurt once.
How many snaps did Saquon take last year?
It was week 2, yeah, because he's their whole team.
He
What do you
got
want
hurt
from him?
once. He's been consistently hurt throughout his
I
career in
will
the
say
NFL.
this: Saquon is going to have a monster year this year. Monster. I
God,
can
please,
put-
y'all
How
just
can he
knock on
not?
wood, please.
How can he not?
Yeah.
Find some wood to knock on both of y'all.
Wait,
'cause
why?
1,400
Just to make sure he doesn't get
yards.
injured again? Yeah, no, absolutely.
I don't want
no.
this to be the show that everyone blames.
When he goes for when he breaks the rushing record.
I don't know about that.
I think it's
1,400
17
yards.
games.
If he gets traded, maybe. We got to take a break.
All
We'll
right.
come back. More second down after this. Cam, if you're feeling some kind of way today, just let me know, man. I mean, who hurt you?
Like I said, Christian's a good person to talk to, man.
Nobody hurt me.
All right.
Nobody hurt
You're
me.
bringing it back to Hawthorne Heights. Who hurt you?
Nobody at all. Nobody at all. I'm feeling good today.
I mean, this is what you just listened to. I mean, PJ, this is gym music, like for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No doubt. Well, sometimes.
Why are you laughing at me, Cam? This is 1,000% gym music.
We're gonna let it ride out.
I mean, people are probably just like gotta be headbanging in the car. I hope.
What depends?
I hope.
Yeah. Hopefully, maybe people are riding in the gym.
You know,
Who knows?
People have taste
Yeah,
out there
exactly.
bumping a little Hawthorne Heights there coming back. Cam, I mean, who hurt you?
Nobody. That's my first time ever hearing that.
Really?
What is your experience with the emo genre of music?
No experience. That's like I don't really listen to music in general.
Wow.
Wait.
No, I
Come
really
again?
don't. Fun fact, I just started listening to music probably a couple of years ago, other than Future growing up.
So like
That's
when
it.
you're driving
There you go.
in your car, what's playing?
Oh man.
Or do you drive in silence like a serial killer?
Okay, I know Kristen, I know you're watching this. A serial killer. Kristen is my girlfriend.
You drive in silence.
Yes, I drive in silence a lot.
So Cam, you just moved to Savannah from Atlanta.
Yeah.
That's a 4-hour car drive.
I'm one of those people. I'm an old head. I would listen to like just sports talk radio sometimes.
But that's
I won't-
listening to something. That's fine.
But
Yeah.
I won't listen to music often. I will sometimes, but most of the time I drive in silence and I will talk to myself, think like just thoughts in my head. There's nothing wrong with that.
PJ, I think we need to get to a safe location very quickly.
I'll say people people don't do that enough. Like people don't.
I mean,
just,
I'll do it on like a 10-minute
kinda-
drive to work
well,
every
exactly
now and then.
right. I'm impressed with myself. Like, yeah, I got like a 5-minute drive to work. I'm impressed with myself if I don't put on any music and just ride and think about my day. I'm impressed with myself with that. But like anything more than 20 minutes or so, I'm throwing something on.
Like my drive from here to my apartment in Savannah is an hour. I will drive in silence. I will and just enjoy the road. Just enjoy the road. There's nothing wrong with that.
Like, do
guys.
you like talk to people on the phone?
Sometimes I just feel tired and I just drive and enjoy the road and just the scenery.
It can be hard to enjoy the road with some of them drivers out there.
It's-
But
yeah, it
That,
can.
I know
no,
what you mean.
that's I'm genuinely terrified right now.
If I can have some food, I'm good.
yeah.
So
I'll say like I listen to music a lot, but I mean, there's some people, man, who literally never stop music. Like it's just
I have to alternate, especially like I'll say this, like on long road trips, like and I'm driving by myself. If
Yeah.
someone had like a camera in the car, they would think I was like legitimately like gone, like crazy.
what does that mean?
Like
'Cause-
trying to keep myself awake,
oh, okay.
song singing, yelling at yourself. Like you have to like switch between music, like the genres and the podcast, like every like 10 minutes because you start getting tired.
Yeah.
It gets,
start getting sick
it
of
gets repetitive. Yeah.
I don't know. I make playlists like that because I go on road trips. Like
But like
all
I'll
the
start
time,
listening
but-
to music for 10 minutes and like it's just like starts getting repetitive.
yeah,
And it's music you've
I can
heard
get
so many
that.
times before.
right.
Starts putting you to sleep. And I was also the kid in high school that could go to sleep listening to music.
oh
Ooh.
no.
Yeah. So that's like it
No.
soothes me to sleep.
Nah, I need silence.
And I was also the kid when I was even younger that would, you know, just like pass out in the car as soon as the car started. Like I still do that.
You know
If you're driving, ask Kevin. We've gone on plenty of road trips together. If you're driving, I'm out. Like
yeah.
I'll apologize too. I'm like, listen, yeah, see people chiming in on Twitter, Cam, yeah.
He said
I don't,
you're,
I
you're
don't care, guys.
he's a psychopath. Yeah.
People are genuinely scared of you now.
It's oh,
If
I
you
mean,
see Cam on the road, avoid him at all costs.
Do you guys
it's okay.
like? I know. Do you guys ever read while listening to music? You say you have slept
No.
listening to music before.
You said
I'm
read.
not even joking. Like
Don't
my
read.
mind normally is moving like 1,000 miles a minute. So having
Big fan of
something
reading.
having something in the background helps me focus on the reading.
I like having something in the background. Like I like reading in like a public place. Like you go like get something to eat and read like that. Yeah, but
No,
like
'cause that-
actually,
That will distract me, man. Like
love that.
people,
Love the white
random noises, things like that. That distracts me. But consistent music makes me focus on whatever I'm reading. It's very weird.
what we can focus on is going to a break. We got to come back.
Get out of here.
We're gonna call the police on Cam. When we come back, we may or may not still be alive. Second Down on ESPN Radio is presented to you by the Uniform Source. You want to end the show on just a run through a wall football quote? Wait, don't sound too excited.
No. Let's do it.
Let me start again.
we
You guys
got-
want to end the show on a run through the wall football quote?
Let's do it.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Does
Let's
he
go.
Thank you.
Does
All
it want
right.
me to sound more bored? Or?
From Eric DiLala on Twitter, he said, incredible quote from Teddy Bridgewater. Quote, I'm a survivor. You can throw me in the jungle and I'm going to come out with a fur coat and a headband I made with some leaves.
Okay, let's go.
Wow. Okay.
With it, that combined with the music from let's go to the
A
gym
little
right
collective soul.
now. Yeah, let's go to the gym right now.
Collective soul gets you amped up.
No, not that music. The music, the last rejoin that got us talking about
A little
psychopaths.
Hawthorne Heights.
Yeah.
Into collective soul. Teddy Bridgewater. Like it kind of petered out at the end. He said, like, I'm going to come out wearing a fur coat.
You could have
with-
stopped there.
And then he said a headband made of, and I was like, oh, what? Like teeth? Like, what are we talking about? And he said, with a headband made of leaves. I was like, oh, I guess.
Hold on.
I guess.
You
But
didn't
the
really have
first-
to work for those.
First part
right?
got me fired up enough. Braves Mets coming up tonight. The Braves currently sit 4 games back of the New York Mets in the division. Cam, should I even talk about what the Braves right? Don't
See, don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. We're not going to talk anything about that. Let's just see what happens.
don't even think
today.
about it.
The
Yeah.
game's back is fine, but leave it there.
I'm just gonna say this:
Yeah.
the Braves are the guy who's just like afraid of commitment.
Yeah, they're afraid of commitment.
Yeah.
You're right. They don't want to be 500.
Like they can be really good,
Yep.
but they're like, you know what? I'd have to change, and I don't know if I'm ready for that.
It's a lot of extra work.
It is, but man, dude, I'm looking at it right now, Cam, and it's staring me right in the face. Max Fried gets the start tonight for the Atlanta Braves, 4.46 ERA on the year for Fried. He will go up against Tyler McGill, who relatively new starter for the Mets, but in his couple of appearances, he's been really good. He's 1-0 with a 2.1 ERA in 30 innings pitched, 33 strikeouts to just 10 walks. And biggest issue for Max Fried so far has been walks. He's given up the 10 home runs on the year, but the 30 walks in 84 innings for Max Fried, that's where I feel like he's really started to correct some things. So looking forward to seeing Max Fried get out there and throw against the Mets tonight. Because again, you win the next 2 games. I'm not going to say what we were talking about, Cam, but you win the next 2 games. All of a sudden, you're looking at the rest of the season. You're 2 games back of the division lead.
Yeah.
It's been such a weird season.
It has been, but
Any other division you're in, Braves are already sellers.
yeah, no, for sure. It's like dealing with the NFC East last year with
Wow.
the Cowboys and but hey, man, you're in this position. You gotta keep it going. You have the opportunity right in front of you, playing well. You gotta keep the momentum up. Like we were talking about earlier in the week. This is the time to do it. Need to see a run here.
There you go. And just don't do the Braves thing of just consistently staying right at 500. Let's go out there and finish this series and make a statement these next couple of games. So we have that game coming up for you tonight. Tomorrow is a 12-10 first pitch, so no second down. Tomorrow an abbreviated 3 and out. But speaking of 3 and out, BJ Bennett, Ben Troop, Kevin Thomas coming up next on 3 and out. They'll be joined by Jim Nagy next.